Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here from YoVideogames, and I got a very special video for you guys today, and that is a hands-on time with Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is coming out at the end of this month. And this was an exclusive hands-on I got to go, from Sega, provided by Sega, which is even beyond what we've seen so far. Now, I know the demo's out, and I'm so happy about that because now you guys can finally all see what I'm talking about when I tell you, that this game F's. Don't worry. Once we get past, the initial part of the video, I'll be saying it full blast. But you can see finally what's, how good this game feels. But I also have some really exclusive footage from later levels in the game to show you and talk to you about. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record everything. There was a little bit of a mishap on my end with some of the recording stuff. But I figure at least, hey, let me just show you some gameplay, that I got so far of Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is coming out at the end of August for pretty much everything here. And I think the one thing that really sets this game apart and really needs to be emphasized here is just how fun and how combat heavy this game is. Like past Shinobis were pretty much like, you run and chop, you run and dive kick. You kind of you hit a guy once with like a kunai, you hit him with your sword, you hit him, dive kick him, and they kind of die in one hit. But this game from Lizard Cube, which follows in their legacy of Streets of Rage 4, absolutely brings in that very combat-heavy style of gameplay into the fold here with Shinobi, and we see that with this boss, with this Warrior 8 boss, which is early in the game. Here I'm using a sort of screen clearing super attack here, which is gonna do big damage. And of course, one of the things I think a lot of people maybe I don't know if it's explained in the demo. I actually haven't played the demo, but one of the things that really surprised me going into the game was, one, you see the instant kill here, which is so much like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance or like Doom 2016 with the glory kills, and it's very satisfying to do. But enemies will have purple attacks, and purple attacks can't be dodged. They can't be They basically, you can't stuff them, kind of thing. They're armored undodgeable attacks. However, there is ways around it. There are certain very special moves you can do to get around that within the game, and there is a water ninpo that you will get at some point, which puts you into a counter stance, and you can counter stance some stuff. Now that is going to use a bit of pip of your ninjutsu magic, but you lock into counter stance for a very long time, and it makes it pretty easy to use. You don't have to worry too much. I was trying to use it like frame 1, which sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. But again, the combat actually has a lot of mechanical depth to it, because you don't just wail on a dude over and over again. You also have dudes that have armor, and you'll have certain moves, certain magic, certain items that will be better for armor. There's also amulets, equipables in the game, which might, be, and there you go. You can see the water counter right there, and it feels so satisfying to land that. But you're going to get amulets in the game. You're going to get skills. You're going to get skill ups. You're going to be able to purchase new moves, even combo extenders, if you will. So you're actually going to be, there's a lot in this. I think that's one of the big takeaway I got from this extended look at the game, is that there is so much more combat depth than just, hey, how long can I get this thing going for? You actually are going to get really in-depth stuff where, okay, I need to think about, what move to do when. This guy's got armor. I'm going to use certain moves to break the armor faster. I'm going to use certain moves. There's even moves to put them at higher health into the insta-kill state. Because enemies have this sort of, you'll see it, the little white bar under their life bar, and that's sort of like their stance gauge, or your, very Sekiro-like, This is their guard break, and if you guard break them, you can actually put them into an instant kill move, instant kill stance. And the instant kill has the big glowing red kanji symbol above their head, and so you can actually do certain moves. Like one of the things you can do, say if you don't want to use the full screen, kill everyone on screen move, which is, hard to fill up, you can actually do certain moves which are like, okay, this is a stance break move, like a close quarters stance break move, and you use it to immediately put a bunch of enemies into insta-kill state. And why do you want to do that necessarily? Not just to kill them, but also when you kill people in the insta-kill state, you get a bunch of resources back, including life. So getting life and kunais and just money to buy, upgrades and stuff, all, make you want to do the insta-kill stuff. Now, normally if when an enemy gets to like the last 10% of their life, they'll be in an insta-kill state. So you may have to hold back on not just completely annihilating them right away. But you will have certain moves that can put them into that state early, and in which case, this is an advantageous thing to you. This is how you're going to have to actually think about combat, because there's challenge rooms, and unfortunately I don't have the footage here for you, but there is a tough challenge room that we got to go hands-on at the event, and I actually beat it. And the way I beat it was because you're on this little platform that looks just like, Battlefield from Smash Brothers, and it slowly loses. Well, it starts out as a sort of two-layered stage, and then it becomes Battlefield by the end because all the bits of the stage fall away. It's wave after wave after wave of enemy, right? And you're not going to be able to use your instant screen kill move. You can only use it once during the combat challenge. So how do you deal with like huge waves before the end? And that is where you use these certain special moves, which will put you in that instant kill state, break their armor really fast. Just be really smart about how you're using your resources, because you're going to get enemies that are going to overwhelm you just by the sheer number of them. And obviously not every enemy is going to be melee. Plenty of enemies are going to be projectile based. Some will be flying. Some are really annoying to deal with. But again, the one thing that makes Shinobi work so well in this new game is look how much mobility this guy has. The double jumps, the air dashes. You got the dodges and stuff, and you can use dodge attack, where you attack mid dodge, which actually can help you extend or reset your combo if you hit a dude mid dodge. So there's just all kinds of mechanical depth to this game where, unlike, the other Ninja game that just came out, which is very good, but is very old school in its sort of style and design, which is like run, hit a dude, move on kind of thing, like, run and pop. This is a game that's all about viscerally getting into it. And again, this game has a ton of upgrades and stuff. Again, not just beyond the magic, and which is sort of elemental based. You have like the fire, which is like just puts a big blast of like fire breath in front of you. And then there's other stuff where, like, again, the water style, which puts you into a counter state, which I find the most fun and useful because every good action game needs a parry. It just does. But yeah, like you have and then the aerial combos, literal OTGs off the ground on stuff. It's just insane how much fun you can actually have just by playing around with this combat system. And again, normal melee stuff isn't necessarily going to break their stance or their gauge as fast as other moves per se, but when you do get them, you want to make use of them. So yeah, this game is really turning out really, really well. This is exactly the kind of Shinobi game you want. And again, also shout outs to the music in this game, which I believe Yuzo Koshiro and T. Lopez from Sonic Mania are coming back to collaborate, compose on it, and it definitely sounds very Yuzo, very Streets of Rage 4-ish. It's going to be interesting to see what else happens in the game, because again, this game is not a Metroidvania. This game is level-based, but it's also a level-based game where you go back to the levels because you will literally encounter areas of the game you cannot access without a certain special move, and you won't get that special move till later in the game, so you need to come back with it. So there's like a sort of replayability. There are a lot of hidden things in the game that are going to be probably a little tough to come by, especially on the first go round. You definitely are going to want to like explore more of the stuff to see what else it has. And the thing is, the nice thing about it is that the combat is so satisfying from just a sort of game feel flow that you probably won't mind. Now, I will say this. Some of these levels are really big. The two levels which I did, which was like a wharf and this sort of really cyberpunk city, the kind of cyberpunk city I wanted out of Cyberpunk. These levels can get really long and maze-like, and there's some really Celeste light platforming segments. There's some segments in this game that are going to heavily rely on you having really, you know, in-depth platformer, double jump, air dash type of skills, because it's going to be long periods of, like, I'm going over a bottomless pit for a while, but I have to make sure I hit every single, like, air dash or aerial reset thing that's in the game for you to hit. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how coming into the game there's actually some really insane and there are challenge rooms that are just platform based, like just want you to do major platform stuff. So pretty cool stuff. So this is not just a beat 'em up, and you can see there I'm using this boss and I whoop on him with the counter. This pretty cool that this game also does have a lot of platforming stuff going with it. So it's this really nice blend, like I said, launcher to meteor striking or just smashing. Oh my god, the combat in this game is so much fun. So I hope you guys are oops, sorry about that. I hope you guys are enjoying kind of what you're seeing here. Because like this game coming out soon at the end of August on pretty much all platforms, all current platforms, it's just it does everything. In fact, I would say this does more for Shinobi than Streets of Rage 4 did, because Streets of Rage has always been kind of a great game, and like Shinobi and Streets of Rage had been a while since anyone had seen like a big great new Streets of Rage game, but this is a much more of a dramatic change in the gameplay of past Shinobis. I could have insta-killed the guy here, and I didn't. I'm silly. But yeah, this is a much more of a drastic change for the game, because again, old Shinobi, even as great as they were, and they are great. Oh my gosh, Shinobi 3 is one of the top 10 best Genesis games. Don't at me. But this game really, the added combat mechanics of this game are really going to make it shine, and I think they're going to give it a ton more replay value, and I think the challenge rooms are going to be a total blast. The speed running is going to be insane. You can watch me here as I wail on this boss mercilessly. I break his back, I humble him. But yeah, this game bucks, and I said that at SGF, and I mean it just as much now as I did back then. This game absolutely fucks, and I have a lot of footage here, but I don't want to show you too much. I don't want you to be too familiar with any given stage before you go into it. So apologies on my behalf if what you're seeing, you know, if you feel like you wanted to see more of the platforming, more of like the stage mechanics. I do want you to be excited, but I also do want you to not see, oh, this is how you do it, like this is where something is hidden or whatever. So apologies on that front, but yeah, this is looking like, honestly, one of the best games this year. And again, like small, almost, you know, you can even call them indie dev team leading the way, mercilessly killed this dude. This game's awesome. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you're as excited for it as I am, and I will see you on the channel later, dudes.